It's a nonprofit organization that acts as a charity. It's a resource to the church, so if the church has too much to handle, they go to Love Inc., or if they need to find out if the person is truly in need, then Love Inc. looks them up and does a background check. They also have a thrift store that's kind of like Goodwill, Salvation Army, and along those lines. They have their own little twist on it that makes it a nicer store than the other two that I just stated. The thrift store has two buildings. It's divided on items. So the first one is the one that you'll walk into first, and it's got clothes and nicer furniture and books and other such things that you'd see at a thrift store. And then the second building is a warehouse actually that has more furniture and then other things like appliances, so like dishwashers, washing machines, so on and so forth. They also have mattresses, as well as a bike repair shop. So they take in broken bicycles and then they have someone fix them up and then they sell them for a profit. And then all the profits they make from these stores goes right back into helping other people. And the way they help other people is during their once they find out the person's need, the person becomes a client to them. And during that time, they provide pretty much everything except for rent to that person. They also provide education, so they have classes that a person can come into at night to help them stay out of poverty once they finish the program.
Negative and positive external factors. Getting back to Goodwill and Salvation Army, Goodwill and Salvation Army are practically their competition with a bunch of items that can be sold at low prices, and since Love Inc. sells items at low prices, it poses a threat. Volunteers, there's not that many volunteers, which poses that negative external factor. They're looking for Spanish-speaking volunteers because they're located in a Spanish-speaking community, and they will I'm sorry, apologize for the pause. There is, I just lost my train of thought. I'm sorry, but the technology, there's improvement in technology which poses a positive external factor because they help with the web page, the internet. I mean, easy to get the word out, easy to know about what Love Inc. is and what Love Inc. does.
Alright, so their strengths are they have a really nice store. When you walk into the store, it doesn't seem like a thrift store. Like if you've been to the Salvation Army down on 28th Street, you walk in and it's just disgusting. Like the floor hasn't been vacuumed in a long time. The clothes just kind of feel gross. Love Inc. doesn't have that. You walk in and it's like an antique store. It's really nice, especially because of the older furniture they have in there. It just really has that nice feel to it. They also wash all their clothes beforehand, before they try to sell them. So that just kind of adds to it just being really nice. It's quality. It doesn't feel like you're being degraded by going into there to buy what you need, which is what they're really trying to, the image that they're trying to put off. Their weaknesses are their volunteers. They rely on volunteers to get anything done. Also, their volunteers, they don't have bilingual skills most likely because this is West Michigan. There's not a whole bunch of Spanish people. Also, their location isn't the best. They're located in Hudsonville, in a primarily residential area. So if you're driving down the road, you'll never know they're there. And then there's a sign that they have in front of their building, but you can easily drive past it. When we went out there to talk to Andy, we drove right past it and didn't realize until a little bit later that we had. And also the building is just kind of confusing once you drive in. And their opportunities is the Hispanic population. It's in the county that they're in is Ottawa County, and that has an 8.6% Hispanic population. And it's relatively untapped by them. They have a few customers that come in, but generally those customers wouldn't be as satisfied because they have no one there to speak Spanish, so there's not much communication going on there. And their threats are competition. Salvation Army and Goodwill are bigger operations, so they can lower the prices, and if they really wanted to, they could probably run out Loving. And there's also thrift stores that are for-profit that also are in competition with Loving.
Objectives, what we did the SMART way. SMART stands for specific, measurable, attainable, relevant, and timely. What we did, our job was to communicate better with the Spanish-speaking community and draw in Spanish-speaking volunteers. It's measurable, heck yeah. We developed posters and pamphlets for the Spanish churches. Pamphlets for the Spanish churches, which help get the word out, help label what is and what Loving does for the Spanish-speaking people, volunteers at the church. And the posters were posted up during, like, around the neighborhoods and stuff, getting in all the Spanish-speaking, or just the Spanish-speaking community to help better understand what Loving is so that they can actually draw in more customers. It's attainable because it's not very cost effective. It's not too high. It's not going to do too much to hurt the company. It's relevant because it's not that hard to do. It's really just hand out pamphlets, hand out posters, really in a cost effective. And it only timely, it just only takes about a month. It's not a very long process. It's really quick, gets the word out, gets the job done. Our segments basically is just our job description, help get the Spanish-speaking volunteers in the Spanish-speaking churches. Our target was not only the Spanish-speaking community, it was the Spanish-speaking churches, because they're not very high on volunteers right now. They had trouble dealing with the Spanish-speaking community because nobody knows how to speak Spanish in their store, so they can't really get customers in, their profits go down, and the only way that they're going to get profits is by just selling stuff, so it kind of hurts them in the process if they don't get it. And positioning, I mean, I know it's in Holland, Michigan. It's the posters and pamphlets are for the Loving is going to put, like, it's going to get the word out quick. We can put it in many locations, and it will help benefit them in the long run.
For Loving, their price is generally in the middle. For thrift stores, they can be beaten price by the bigger places like Goodwill, but the for-profit thrift stores are generally higher priced because they want to make more money. Their products are really good. Like when we were walking around there, it just really surprised me how good their products were. In other thrift stores, they kind of assume that most of their clothes are just there because the person who had them before was, deceased now, because they're all from like the early 90s and stuff, and that's not as much the case at Loving. They're also just, they're washed, like I said before, and it's clean, which just is really their staple. That's what that's their bread and butter right there. Their placement, this one is located in Hudsonville. Loving as a whole is operated in 36 states across the nation. But each branch is operated independently. They have their own board of trustees. But they have the name of Loving because they're known as an affiliate. For their promotion, they have a few ads in newspapers and Christian radio stations, but these are all in English, so they don't really pertain to us going after the Spanish population. So effectively for the Spanish population, there is no real promotion. I believe they're in a mature market. I think since goods were made, there's always been a market for used goods. You don't need any more, you sell it to someone who does. And it's also much more cost effective to buy something used, especially if it still has a lot of use left in it, especially like clothes. Like you can wear clothes for a long time, and furniture as well. So to buy used is just a really great thing, especially in times where money's tight, like now with the economy being bad, and especially so if you're in poverty, it's just gives you a lot more bang for your buck. So I think it's not going to go anywhere. I think thrift stores are going to be around for quite a while. For our implementation, we decided that we'd set up flyers to get Spanish-speaking people to come to the store. And then we'd also have pamphlets and contact the Spanish-speaking churches in the area to gain volunteers. So we decided that on Monday we'd have them call the churches. That way, by Sunday, they could hopefully have delivered the pamphlets to the church for the narthex, and then try to get it in the bulletin so people can read it, and then have the pastor mention it in the service, hopefully 2 times within the month. And then about 2 weeks later, if they've had volunteers, maybe a little bit longer if they still haven't gotten many volunteers, go out on a Thursday to put flyers in Spanish neighborhoods. We found those generally to be in Southern Holland and then in Division Street south of Grand Rapids. And the reason that we chose Thursday is because on the weekend, that's the main time that you can go shopping, because during the week you're going to be at work, and when you get home you're tired, you're not going to want to go clothes shopping or anything like that. But then putting it out Friday might be a little bit too skimming it. So Thursday would be the best day. Any sooner than that, the weather or just generally the flyers fall down. So Thursday I think would be the best day.
Our contingency plan, if pamphlets and posters were to fail, we would fall back onto putting them in, having volunteers going out and personally delivering the pamphlets and talking about how the posters and all that kind of stuff, and how, what Love Inc. is, increasing the chance of and drawing back in customers. And also, there's also fallback on newspapers and radio. It's a great way to get the word out, put ads on radio. People listen to the radio all the time. People read the newspaper all the time. Easy way to get the word out. But the problem is that it's a little cost effective. So, and also we just increase the size of the sign so we don't miss it again.
For measures, I think it's pretty simple. If you're getting more Spanish-speaking volunteers, then you know that it's working. But Love Inc., to become a volunteer there, they make sure that you're a Christian, because it's a Christian organization and they really want to have Christian volunteers. So they can check to see what church you go to, and if it's one of the churches that we've been marketing to, then most likely it's an effect of that Love Inc. strategy. Also, for Spanish customers, they can have the cashiers have a tally of how many Spanish-looking or speaking people come in, and if that increases as the posters go out, then we'll know that it's working.
In summary, Love Inc. is a nonprofit organization that helps with providing clothes, low-price clothes, education, and items to people who need it the most. Sorry about that. They also, the external factors, Love Inc. Dealing with Goodwill and Salvation Army is a big threat. So that's why it's a young company, but they're going to grow and maybe provide more stores to other people in the community. Any questions?
Do they do anything with Hispanic people now?
That was our job, not right now, because they need us to provide a marketing strategy, because they're struggling with communicating with the Spanish-speaking community, since nobody knows how to speak Spanish.
They have a few customers, but that's kind of clued them into that they need to market better to this population. You're kind of seeing a trickle right now, but nothing really too big to speak of.
Anyone else?
Yeah.
So the store in Hudsonville, is it good enough, not just Hispanic customers and to sustain itself, or are they really?
Yeah, they're making a lot of money. They're actually going to expand and buy a house next to them too. I don't remember what he told us they were used it for, but it's a complex. Like, they have a few buildings right there. They're actually doing better than most other Love Inc. branches.
When was it started, like the actual company?
Ooh, that's a good question. It's been around for a while. Love Inc. has been around for quite a while. This particular branch is, I think it was the 7th in Michigan.
Okay.
Is Love Inc. like a national sort of deal then?
Yeah, it started out as like one branch and then has spread. I think it's primarily like the Midwest.
Yeah.
I think they have one.
Really?
Yeah, they have one in, I think Africa. It's like a health organization.
Great, thank you for your time.